you want to talk a little bit about what is your hypothesis of the solution in this situation?
So actually, we were not a legacy app, but we were a fairly complex app which had lived for 10 plus years. Maybe that's considered legacy. And then what is legacy? It could be complex, but we did not have any automated tests, like I told, right?
Hmm.
So there was a fear factor among us to go and change anything because things could break, both from functionality and from deployment side. So broadly, we were thinking that two interventions were required. One is to start building our test pyramid top down, like invest in meaningful and a lightweight suite of end-to-end tests.
Right.
So that way, one was automated testing. Secondly, we and also broadly because of the size of that effort, because felt like two-thirds of our pain point was testing, and we did not have as many QAs on the team, right? So we needed that help badly. Secondly, was the we were thinking because all the like the code deployments used to happen manually, there was no single reliable automated way to deploy code from my machine to prod. It always felt like it works on my machine, right? And why doesn't it work for the customer? So that way, the
Right.
second hypothesis was automated deployment.
Hmm.
So that way, we were pragmatic enough to say that we will not uh, make this 48 hours as zero, but we were fairly confident that if we bring in automated tests, then we could shave off 30 hours out of 32 hours from the manual from the manual QA effort and make it 2 hours.
Right.
And if we invested in automated deployment, we could take off those 16 hours, which I wrongly said as 12 in the beginning, make from 16 to you can bring it down to one. So in our minds, we were fairly sure of what tools and techniques to bring in, and then given some time, money, and effort for that, how this 30, how this 48 hours could become 3 hours.
Right. Yeah, and so I think the next step is to then also size the solution or
Yeah.
understand what is the cost of the solution.
Yes.
uh, because then what you'll be able to do is look at the size of the problem, look at the size of the solution, and then understand whether it is worth solving the problem or not.
Agree.
Right. So let's look at the cost of the solution very
Yeah.
quickly. So we are only looking at one solution here, so
Fair.
just the automated testing part.
The bigger one.
And
Yeah.
so the automated testing part, yes, that's the bigger one, and it accounts for about 62.5% of the benefit, right?
Yes.
Because it reduces 30 out of the 48 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you look at the components of this solution, the activities that you need to do is that you need to actually build an automated test suite,
Agree.
you need some infrastructure and tools,
Yes.
and you might need some kind of training,
Correct.
right? And so we have made again some assumptions about how much time will it take to build this suite, what will be the cost of infrastructure and tools, and what will be the cost of the training.
Hmm.
And it's based on similar assumptions and facts that we have used in the previous calculations. And so what this comes to is about 30 person days of effort to build the test suite, which costs $6,000 or $7,000.
Yeah.
Infrastructure and tools for the whole year, which
Mhm.
cost 1440, and training cost, which is again a one-time cost of about $1,000,
Hmm.
$900.
Yeah.
And so if you add all of this up, what we see is that the cost of the solution is 22,118,
Okay.
right? And because we are only solving part of the problem, instead of 400,000,
Yeah.
we will take into consideration the pro rata amount, so
That's fair.
250,000. So if we did not do anything with automated deployment and only did automated testing, we can say that this is the benefit that we're aiming for, and this is the cost of the solution to get that benefit.
Hmm.
And so you immediately see that your ROI is 11.3x,
That's awesome.
which you get by dividing the benefit by the cost.
That's for the first year, no, Akshay, and then you will keep getting a similar benefit for the
Correct.
next year
Yeah. So
onwards. And
yes,
yeah,
yes. So
it's
in
awesome.
the following years, you will actually not pay anything.
Yeah.
You will just keep getting the benefit. And so if you calculate this value over 5 years time, you'll see a 50x kind of benefit.
Yeah.
So
I
that's,
think we talk more about 10x developers and less about 10x activities such as these.
yeah, I know, right? Yeah, that's a really good point. Uh, so yeah, once you are able to communicate the problem and the solution in these
mm,
terms, it becomes
mm.
very easy for someone like a CFO or a head of the business unit to make a decision and to say, okay, I'm going to carve out the budget for this investment because it's going to pay off quite a bit.
Yes.
But if you're not able to put these numbers together, then you will keep arguing about these result statements that we talked about, right?
Yeah.
You'll keep bringing this up in retros, like you were saying, and it won't move anywhere because
Yes.
half the team feels strongly about it, and the people with the money are like, I don't care. I
Yeah.
don't see why I should pay attention to this.
Yeah, because I think the reality of any business, Akshay, would be that resources are scarce, right? And then
Correct.
people have to prioritize. And I don't think
Right.
it's personal, but yeah, I mean, I agree with being at loggerheads all the time.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. It's not personal, and I think that is the mistake that a lot of people make. But really, in an ideal world, the business should choose the most profitable activities to invest in, right? So here, even at this point, right, we see that
Yeah.
this activity is going to pay off, is going to create 250,000 worth of value.
Hmm. Hmm.
But if there was another activity
Hmm.
which, let's say, took $30,000
Hmm.
but gave 1 million benefit, it would be wise to invest in that other activity rather than this activity,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because it's opportunity cost in the end. And
Yeah.
so that is why it is very important to really articulate everything in the form of what is this going to cost and how much is it going to give me, to be able to make meaningful decisions as a business.
Yeah. It like feels like a known slash unknown unknown, and this is a significant risk to the business as well because you're not aware that these are hidden or these are affecting your org today, but you don't believe in it, right? And that causes rifts among the leadership, among the team members and so on. So that way, it like inherently affect your not only your company economics but your company culture as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and so in wake of making data driven decisions,
Mm,
let's move one step closer to that and make sure that we are able to do these calculations,
yeah,
um, and be able to communicate this in terms that all of the business understands and not
yeah,
just people who are close to the problem.
yeah. And actually, as I'm listening to you, I mean, some thoughts are coming in my mind that yeah, if I had to calculate something called this, like you mentioned about the value factor for an employee, right, which was
Hmm.
2.5, and even if
Hmm.
I didn't know that, if I knew the revenue of my company and if I knew the number of employees and have an approximate salary per employee, if I divide the two, is where I'll get an approximate factor as well, and that way.
Absolutely.
Um, I feel more connected. We talk about domain driven design, we talk about evolutionary architecture, but in a way, this financial acumen or understanding the business very deeply is also very important to like being a good tech lead.
Yeah, absolutely. And it can really sort of put you in a different league because not
Yeah.
many people go have the tenacity to go through all of this and make sure that they are able to actually get it right and communicate it well. And
Hmm.
so if you start doing it as a tech lead, you're miles ahead of other people who are playing similar roles, because most people haven't really paid attention, or they feel like this is too tedious and I don't want to spend time doing it. But this is actually things that will get you the right investments for the
Yeah.
biggest problems that you need to solve as tech leaders, and not just at a team level but even at a portfolio or a department level.
So how do we do this well, Akshay? I'm thinking of two activities. One is as a tech lead, I would need to convert my activities. If I have a proposal, it could be about tackling tech debt, it could be about justifying new tech investment, or even like we were talking the other day about build versus buy. Those activities in our proposal should be mapped to one or more of the four quadrants that we had, and then we need to get to a dollar value, right? And then not only that, I feel we need to figure out how to narrate this. You should do a pitch with visuals and data points like in a compelling manner. At least those two things I am now getting that are like very key.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you have a dollar value of each of your activities and
Hmm.
the impact that you're expecting from each of those activities, you are 80% there.
Hmm.
Now, as we saw in the overtime example,
Hmm.
the dollar value was already there. But the storytelling bit is that, okay, that is not just 32K, that is worth an extra person for a whole year.
Yeah,
That is the storytelling aspect. So you're framing the same value in a different way so that people have a
completely
very
understood.
tangible idea of what it really means.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is the storytelling aspect, but that I feel is the last 20%. So you can certainly make a very compelling story if you use the right terms and the right comparisons and the right
Hmm.
metaphors. But getting to the dollar value itself is 80% of the work. And so if you get there, I feel like you've already come a long way. And then it wouldn't be too daunting to do the rest.
Good tip, Akshay. Awesome.
Excellent, cool. So that was our episode on business value articulation. We'll come back with another topic soon on the next iteration podcast. Until then.